Meanwhile, back at the Hall of Justice, our mild-mannered podcasters were bombarded by gamma rays, bitten by radioactive bugs, mutated by toxic waste, irradiated with cosmic rays, born into a world that doesn't understand them. Issue. Limited edition.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Talking Comics podcast. Today is Wednesday, July 7th, 2021, and you are listening to episode number 502. My name is Joey Bercino, and I will be your host this week. Steve is feeling a little under the weather, so he gave me control of the microphones, but we have some special guests today. Our normal roundtable, though, is here, Mr. Bob Ryer.
Speaking of weather, it is too darn hot.
You gotta sing it. Too
Darn hot.
Yeah. Mr. Aaron Amos is here.
Hold on. The theme song is still playing in my head. I wasn't quite in my right spot yet. All right.
Mr.
Hi.
John Burkle has joined us.
It is hotter than hell in the Midwest this year.
And our very special guest, Miss Stephanie Cook.
Hello, I'm back.
Yes. First of all, Stephanie, before we get into anything, because you're here for very, very special reasons today to talk about a very, very special book, we want to thank you for sending in that call in to episode 500.
Yeah, no problem. It was, it was nice to reminisce, and Bob was just like, you got to do this, and thinking of all the happy moments, looking at my Talking Comics photo, all the good times.
Do you have a Talking Comics shirt?
I don't think anymore, but maybe I did. I don't know.
So, Bob, that means
Bobby,
you have the only one.
that's left in existence.
I have 3. I have 2.
What? Oh, he has all of ours. Then we just sent them all to Bob.
I wash them by hand in the sink and hang them dry on a wooden rack in the bathtub.
So they last forever.
Just the best person.
Oh, stop. Because I know they're rare. So we had white ones first that just said Talking Comics.
Yeah.
And then we did the black ones with the Haiti mode artwork.
Oh yeah.
So I have a couple of those with our little avatars that Sarah had made backstories for and whatever. So I have a couple of those. I tend to wear those on Wednesdays, on days the episodes post, just because I'm ridiculous. I want people to remember, including myself.
Well, you're our billboard, our Bob board, if you will.
Okay. All right.
And that photo you're talking about, Steph, is that the one where the 4 of us are standing together at New York Comic Con?
Yeah. It was like one of my favorite photos, and then I hid it away for a while, and now it's back out.
There you go.
Nice. This is episode 502 after all. There's been a lot of in and out.
Yes.
Yeah. I can't even remember, where I left off. It was so long ago now. I was there for 200 and 250, I want to say.
Absolutely.
You and I overlapped for about 10 episodes, maybe even fewer. So it was definitely around 220 or 230.
Yeah, so long ago now. I can't believe y'all are at 500. That's a lifetime ago.
And you started it because I was doing some research because, well, I'm just ridiculous. Your first episode was number 8.
Yeah.
You're way back. Yeah.
I'm not quite OG, but pretty much.
Yeah, well, OG is different. The sports reference would be for the Yankees when their dynasty in the 90s and early 2000s. They had a group of players called the Core 4. Mm-hmm. We may have OG, but we've got a Core 4.
Yes.
Yeah.
And all that starts there with you at number 8 and me number 13.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I appeared on episode 7.
Wow.
I appeared on episode 7 to talk about Fantastic Four. Why not? Number 600, and then got coerced into being a regular for episode 13. At that point, it was
wild to me because I always just assumed you were there since the beginning. I don't have any recollection whatsoever of you never not being there, Bob. You've just been ingrained in my brain as just since the first episode.
Oh, that's lovely. The people know the story. I refused. I didn't want any part of reading New 52 books. And then
this does seem familiar. Never mind.
Yeah, when things started to shift, it was, okay, I like what's going on here. This is nice. And sure, let's go.
A curmudgeon changes his ways.
Well, that's partly because of all you folks. Mostly because of all the folks I've shared these microphones with. So thank you to everybody. Past, present, future.
This is a journey.
Yes.
There you go. The plan for this evening, Stephanie has joined us this week because she's got an awesome new book coming out July 13th. Am I making that up?
Yes,
That's the date?
that is the date.
I did my research. July 13th, called Paranorthern, that we'll be talking about for the first chunk of the show today, and then we'll have our normal lightning rounds and books for next week and the like. But we wanted to obviously, give Stephanie and her book the due that it deserves. So we're going to start the show this week with that. So to do that, I'll hand it over to Bob to take the lead on this part of the conversation.
Thank you so much, Joey. Steph, this is your second graphic novel, right? Although the first one you wrote, if memory serves me correctly, and it is called Paranorthern and the Chaos Bunny Ahopcalypse, which will be out from Houghton Mifflin Hardcoat Etch on the 13th. Now, first of all, I'm a punny kind of guy. I just love this title. Did you have any trouble getting that title through editorial?
No.
Good.
But every time we say a pun, I know Bobby is somewhere cringing. He's like, I don't know why I'm cringing, but I'm cringing. It's my favorite thing. My editor is like a big pun lover and was just like, more puns. How can we get more puns into this? Again, Bobby cringing. Yes. And for those who don't know who Bobby is, he's a former Talking Comics person. But HMH had a full-on press conference about the title and specifically about the pun in the title. It makes me very happy, unreasonably happy that they had to be like, all right, we need to schedule some time to discuss this pun. And people got together and were like, how are we going to play this? How are we going to present this to people so that they get it? So people sat around a board table with a whiteboard, I'm assuming, for, I don't know, at least an hour. I'm hopping.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, you're welcome. And they were like, a hopcalypse? Where do we put the dashes? Do we have to put dashes? Do we just put it at one word? It just makes me so happy.
Focus groups for puns. Yeah.
Yeah. So, there was no pushback in the fact that the pun was there, but they definitely had a full-on conversation about how best to incorporate it.
Right, because spoken aloud, it's just fairly simple. But when you in print, you don't have timing and pauses. So how do you create that? Dashes.
Right.
Dashes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's is it, are kids going to look at this and be like, these people spelt this wrong? Or will it take a few minutes? So yeah, it was definitely, how do we present this? And I will never not be so pleased about that.
As you
it's
should
my
be.
favorite fun fact for the book.
Now, how did Paranorthern come to you as an idea? Was it long gestating? Something just hit you to tell a story about chaos bunnies?
Yeah. Okay, there's a mix of things here. So first of all, again, I love just bad jokes and ideas. And I was very deeply tickled with Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
I thought so. Yes. Beware the rabbits of chaos, as in your book, right out of Tim the Enchanter. Yes.
There was actually a character named Tim and the Enchanter. Yeah, I was very delighted with myself. And then my editor was like, Stephanie, this character needs to be the sister. Why would you write in this entirely different character that has no other purpose? This just needs to be Abby's sister. And I was like, fine.
But it was Tim. It was Tim.
I was very sad to kill Tim. But yeah, I was kind of just so this all ties in. Originally, I had made this idea for Jen St. Ange.
Oh.
So when we were comics babies, this was probably 2016, maybe earlier, 2015. We just were wanting to do something, and Jen hadn't really kicked off yet. So she was like doing webcomics and like kind of miscellaneous anthologies and that sort of thing. But she was like, I want to do a webcomic. And a friend of ours connected us. And I was like, what do you want to draw? And she was like, teen witches. And I was like, cool, I can work with that. So the original idea for Paranorthern kind of started forming there. And like, I was like, what could I do for this that would be like me, but like something that Jen would enjoy? And it was like definitely a lot more, again, teen focused, YA. And the story was definitely very, very different. It went in a very different direction. But the world and the main core characters exist now. But Jen eventually started taking off. She got on the Misfits, Gem and the Holograms, and all of these other things, and was just like, I don't have time for this. I'm so sorry. And it just kind of got shelved for a while, but she had given me her blessing to continue working on it and developing it. So I did that. I left it for a long time. But then I just every now and again in my downtime would work on it, and I would just kind of reform and rework it. So it felt more of my own. I didn't feel comfortable taking like Jen's ideas and that sort of thing. And, you know, like continuing that. But, yeah, when we eventually had some interest in Oh My Gods, my agent was like, do you want me to just like kind of, you know, like support you for that deal, or do you want to sign like full time? She's like, do you have other ideas? And I was like, well, I have this thing that's kind of like been in my head forever. And I told her about Paranorthern, and she was like, oh my God, that's so good. And like, I hadn't really told anyone other than Jen about this project at that time. And so I didn't know if it had potential, but then my agent just was like, no, we have to sell this. Like, we have to do this. And yeah, the person that was originally interested in Oh My Gods kind of wound up not selling it or buying it. But then we wound up selling like Paranorthern like a few weeks later, like really like quickly. And we got like a competing offer for it and everything. And yeah, that was a very long-winded answer, but that's kind of where it started. And it came, there was definitely a big inspiration with Monty Python.
There we go. And had it feel wonderful that so many people were entertained by this idea that you had put on your own back burner for all sorts of reasons, but to have everyone embrace it that way had to validate your original notion.
Yeah. Yeah. It was really like, it's hard to not feel self-deprecating about your own work, especially like, I feel like with writing and art in general, sometimes the inclination is to not put your ideas out there. You don't want somebody to steal them. You don't want like, you know, something to kind of like, or somebody maybe to tell you that they're bad. I mean, it's like one thing if somebody tells you it's good, but it's like you put your things out there and then somebody's like, you know what, that's terrible. Like, that's
yeah,
awful. So like to kind of, for the first time ever, talk about this project and to have somebody be like, yes, we need to sell this. Like, it was amazing. And, you know, like Paranorthern is probably, again, the first thing that I really stuck with over a long period of time and just permeated and kept with. And it has a really, really special place in my heart.
Yeah. Now, because of that, I could probably give you a plot recap. I'm sure yours would be much better. What's your recap or pitch of what Paranorthern is without being spoilery?
Yeah, well, basically there's a young witch named Abby, and she accidentally opens up a portal to another dimension, and this dimension is filled with chaos bunnies. And chaos bunnies are like Stitch from Lilo and Stitch. They're not inherently evil, but they're definitely mischievous, and they cause destruction. It's just in their nature. So they start taking over their town of North Haven, and Abby's afraid that her mom and her family are going to get in trouble because she did this. So she and her friends, Gita, Hannah, and Silas, decide to team together to try and close this portal and return all the bunnies from whence they came.
Beautiful. And there's a lovely line about the bunnies where it's in their nature to destroy everything around them. Yeah, but at least they look real cute doing it.
Exactly. They're so cute. I actually have a Chaos Bunny tattoo also.
Aw.
Yeah. He's on my elbow, so I can't really see him all that well, but I know he's there. And I know he's real cute when I accidentally glimpse him in the mirror.
See, I also saw that for people who are, they may be gone already, they were pre-ordering the book and could give you proof you have bunny pins.
Yes. I've got so many bunny pins. Please pre-order and tell me about it. My friend, wonderful friend, I was like, I'm going to get like 100 or 150. She's like, 250 it is. So I have got so many. And yeah, if people send me proof of pre-order, obviously now because it's not out yet, but I suspect that I will have some left over. So if you buy it at the 13th onward, I will still probably send you one.
I pre-ordered 3 copies. Do I get 3 pins?
I will send you pins, Bob.
Okay,
of course I will send you pins. You were on my list anyways.
All right.
You know.
I appreciate that.
But yeah, I had a mom just before I came on the show message me to be like, can I get one for my daughter? I was like, yes. So I'm very excited. We're doing like an outdoor signing too in Toronto. And it's like the first event here, like the store's running since the pandemic started. So no pressure. I'm not at all terrified. But I'm really excited to give like the pins out and hopefully get like people to come by. And yeah.
I'm sure.
Have you done signings before? Because Oh My Gods came out during the pandemic, right?
Yeah. So this store is going to be so tired of me. But like, yeah, the book Oh My Gods came out in January and we were in the middle of a lockdown with everything closed. So I didn't get to see Oh My Gods on shelves until sometime in February when lockdown briefly ended for a few weeks. Mm-hmm. And I went into this store and like had a like mini meltdown at the like sales associates, like, you know, like teary eyed. I'm just like, you have my book. And like fully just like, I wrote this and like you have it and you didn't even know me, but you have it. They were just like so sweet. They took a photo with me. They're like, would you like to sign it? I'm like, can I do that? Like, it was very nice. And they're the same people who are doing the Paranorthern signing. But I just, it's funny because I've forgotten all of my already diminished social skills to set this up. And I showed up and was like, hi, would you like to do an outdoor signing for my new book? Like that is how I approached the woman at the store with like literally no introduction, no context. I was just like, hello, would you like to run an event for me? But thankfully she remembered me from my previous meltdown over Oh My Gods and was like, oh, you're the Oh My Gods girl. And I was like, yes, I am. So I have not done any signings yet. This will be my first thing. And it has to be an outdoor event because like indoor things are still super minimal. But I got a tent. I ordered it. It arrived today. Nice. And we're going to do a little fun thingy. And I'm going to have feelings about it. I
would think we're going to want to report on that. We want to see that. Definitely going to want to see that.
They're apparently doing like a window too. I'm also going to have feelings about that too. So
now, on the signing front, did you ever see the movie Young Adult, the Diablo Cody movie?
Yeah.
Right. Where Charlize Theron's character walks into the bookstore that has her ghostwritten young adult novels. Would you like me to sign some of those? No, we don't want you to sign any of those. Go away. Just go away. She tries to impose himself on the store. You have a much better set of social skills than she did, so you shouldn't knock yourself.
I keep on thinking that people are gonna like ask me for ID or something because like I've gone into a couple stores now. There's like a big store here that's like the Canadian Barnes and Noble. It's called Indigo Chapters, mostly Indigo. There's a couple of things, but there's a big Indigo store near me, and I saw that they had like 9 copies of the book. Again, during this period of non-lockdown in like February, March. And I went in and was just like, hi, I co-wrote this. Would you like me to sign it? Like nobody asks you for ID or anything though. Like I could just be like, I am Hillary Clinton. Would you like me to sign all of this? Like obviously not. But like nobody really asks you to prove that you are that person. They're just like, yeah, great, we're going to put some stickers on this. Like, okay, it is me. I'm not lying about this, but I thought they would want some sort of proof, but they don't really care that much.
That's our pro tip for the listeners at home.
Oh God,
just go
this
do
is gonna
it.
be horrible. Yeah, I really just like, it's like when you turn legal drinking age and you expect to be ID'd, and then you go and you're just like, it's my birthday, and like the bouncer's like, yeah, I don't care, go in. Like,
It's time's up.
you're like,
Yeah.
but it's my birthday. Would you not like to see my ID? Do I not look too young to be here? Yeah, no one cares. Maybe they do care. I don't know, but maybe it got it around. My mom has like harassed like every store employee in existence.
Good.
And I get messages from like store employees that are like, oh my God, I met your mom today. Like legit. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. They're like, no, she's so charming. I'm like, no one has ever said that.
Oh.
But
There's a story from back in the 20s. The author Robert Benchley, because he was a rather perverse sort of humorist fellow of the Algonquin Round Table days, he'd go into other people's houses and occasionally sign their books for them. But then not only would he sign his books, he would sign other people's. So he'd sign
my God.
Alfred Lord Tennyson's name, keep him flying, Al, and just put it back on the shelf and walk away.
Oh my God.
So you
I
may
love
want to
that.
try that. You may want to try that.
I love that. I feel like I would get banned from places.
That's
though,
also
very
true.
quickly. Like, I definitely, like, I think my level of, like naughtiness when it comes to like book stuff is like, sometimes I bring like packs of googly eyes with me and I stick them on book covers, and it makes me really happy to do that. But I feel bad doing that. I feel like I am vandalizing it.
Oh,
Like, I feel like I'm gonna get banned from the store, even though I know that like you can just remove them. I'm just gonna be like, oh God, they're gonna ban me for life. Like, I don't know. There's always that.
and now
Very
that you're a
downstairs.
professional author, yes, there's a certain decorum that must be followed. Though I don't think you're going to be really great at that, Steph. I'm just saying. Googly eyes are going to be out there.
It's true. I'm not gonna stop.
To the book itself, I just have to tell you, I love this diverse cast, and I knowing you, I know that had to be a priority as you were putting this together.
Yeah. We definitely like I didn't have like Hannah, for instance, wasn't kind of in mind to be a Muslim character necessarily, but like Abby and her mom and her family and like everyone else, like we really wanted to make sure that the cast was diverse. But then it was also important that I wasn't telling like a story, like a kind of story that wasn't my own necessarily. But I still wanted those characters to be as diverse as possible. And Hannah, Mari Costa, the artist, when she read the script and she was doing the character designs and concepts, she really thought that she wanted to make Hannah either Latina or Muslim. Like, she had read the script and thought that that would make the character like elevated and it would just really resonate with that audience. So she asked for permission to make Hannah one or the other. And I was like, yeah, of course. Like, please, like, if that's how you see it, like, these should be your characters too. And I want that to kind of be whatever speaks to you. So she came out as a Muslim character, and I just love the design for everyone in this book. Like, I definitely cried when she sent over the designs and I got to see them. I was just like, oh, my babies. Yeah. So it's just really magical. I know that sounds very hokey. It does, but like, there genuinely is a magic in comics in that something is in your head, you put it down on paper, and someone interprets what you have written and brings it to life. Like, it's just, it genuinely is magic to me.
It translates to us reading it too. Those characters are so well defined, so all encompassing human beings without it being a point of order to, we're telling this story this way through this character. No, they're just people with life experience. It's easy for anyone to relate to any of them at one point, one or the other. I'm definitely a curmudgeonly Silas, I think, if I have to pick.
I really underestimated the number of people that would love Silas.
Okay.
The best. His anti-pumpkin spice latte. You had me from there.
I truly I was delighted. That's actually maybe one of my favorite things in the whole book that I wrote. And then at the very, very end, there's a recipe section. And I was so surprised they let me put that in the book. It's not a spoiler because it's just recipes, but he's just they're doing a faux pumpkin spice thing, and she's he kind of just oh, so you don't have to murder pumpkins. And I was like, somebody let me put this in a children's book.
Just the look he gives the person in line was the best.
Oh, I love him. It was so much fun to write that. And my editor, Silas is her favorite. My agent, Silas is her favorite. Everybody loves Silas. And I've been not reading a ton of reviews deliberately because, oh my God, my soul can't take it. But I feel like every review, they're just that pumpkin head I love. I love him. And I really thought I was oh, Abby's really sweet. And I thought Hannah being kind of with her clumsy with her corporeal charm and stuff. I thought people would be tickled by that. And I don't know. I just didn't see Silas being the popular one. But I get it now. I'm in retrospect, I'm oh yes, okay, I see what I've done here. But yeah. I don't know.
He's amazing. He used to have there'll be volume 2, I'm assuming.
Yeah, let's just cross our fingers. I'm hoping. I really want to do more. I envisioned Paranorthern when we pitched it as both something that could stand alone, but also continue as a series. So I do have a lot more stories in mind for all of the characters, and I have a lot of I have big dreams for this franchise, this world. And there's a lot of things I really want to do. So I hope people buy it. I hope people love it, and they demand my publisher give me more books because I have stories to tell.
We want to read them too, because there are so many wonderful messages here. Family plays a huge role in this, certainly, but also knowing oneself, self-reliance, acceptance of others, all just so positive, so needed in the world the way it sits today. And yet it's not preachy at all. They're just there because these people genuinely like each other. Was it difficult to find that balance, particularly for a younger audience?
Yeah, I think writing an ensemble is hard. I don't think I ever really gave enough credit to people before jumping into ensemble things, how many moving parts there can be and how 200 pages isn't really a lot when you have more than one character. So there's definitely a lot of, I don't think I tend to think about themes in a big way, when I'm writing things. For me, the focus is the characters and developing who they are within the story and developing those relationships. And then hopefully themes come organically from that story. So, Abby in this story is kind of the core here, and her friends, help her and they're there for her, but they're not, unconditionally there for her. Silas definitely has questions.
Yes, he does.
Is this a good life choice? And I think that's important too, that your friends, there's several friends that I have. If I was just great, so-and-so is dead, they'd be great, where are we going to bury the body? When do you need me here? You have to have those friends, but then you also have to have those friends that call you on stuff too, right?
Sure.
And keep you grounded. So I wanted there to be a mix of all of that there, and for the relationships to really just feel as organic as possible.
Oh,
Does that
they're
make
there.
sense?
Yeah, yes. I'm not the target audience, obviously, by a factor of, I don't know, 10 times probably. But the messages just sing. They really do.
Thank you. And I mean, you are the target audience. Like in my mind, the books, like even Oh My Gods 2, like they're just, to me, they're all ages. And the only people that put demographics, audiences on the books are like the people marketing them, right? And
Ah,
obviously, hopefully their kids will enjoy them and like them and be attracted to them. But like in my mind, like even when I did Talking Comics, we've often talked about like all ages stuff and how there was at the time, there was a big lack of that. And so writing stories, that appealed to anyone was something I really wanted to do.
and it certainly does, because you're not writing downwards to children. You're writing a story that is for young readers. An older reader gets something else. As a grown up, as a curmudgeonly old man, I got something else out of it. It's funny and human and real, and there aren't enough of those around. So there you go.
Thank you, Bob.
There you go. Now, speaking of how this all gets put together, as her art so perfectly suited to this story, how did Marie Costa come to the project? You mentioned how it was Jen St. Ange starting out.
Yeah. Well, obviously, again, just so there's no confusion, Jen was like in the inception of this, like when we first kind of were like comics babies, and she was involved in a very different version of this. But I obviously had like, told this story to my editor and stuff too. It was just like, oh, Jen would have been perfect. And Jen has been kind of informed of this whole thing along the way. I love Jen. Jen is a good egg. Yeah, so Mari got paired up with me through the publisher. So unlike Oh My Gods, where Juliana was part of our team going into the contract and we were a package deal, I sold Paranorthern solely as a writer. So I was just like, hello, here's this graphic novel project that I only wrote. I don't have an artist attached to it. Help me. But not like that, because that's
That would have been great. That's very Tallulah Bankhead, I think. That's right.
yeah. So Mari came on board through like HMH. So my editor is amazing. Lily is my hero. I would take a bullet for her, I swear to God. But she was like, who do you envision on this book? Who are your dream people? Blah, 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 blah. So we brainstormed like looks for the book and kind of just like what we wanted to kind of do overall. And we went back and forth for a while. And then she made a short list eventually of artists that she felt would work for the story. And Mari was on that list. So we reached out to, well, I had no part of this. Mari was reached out to via her agent, and everything kind of just got negotiated without me. So Mari eventually agreed to the project, was brought on board. And again, unlike Oh My Gods, where we worked pretty closely with Juliana, I didn't really work with Mari all that much. Like we kind of talked for the character inception. Again, like Mari asked about whether or not it would be okay to, make Hannah Muslim and all that stuff. But other than that, like I didn't really have that much contact with her. She was hired by HMH, so her point of contact was my editor and our art director, Mary Claire Cruz, who did the book jacket design. And Mary Claire is also amazing, and I love her. But yeah, so I really didn't have much contact with Mari at all for this whole process, which is very strange for me, but it was an interesting learning experience.
So she took a full script, I guess, from you and worked from that? And you did have notes passed back and forth here and there?
Yeah, so basically, like I helped with like the character stuff, and we basically had to I had a final script done, and then Mari started working on that. Once we had the characters designed and once those were approved. And so like after, or kind of like at halfway points, like my editor would be like, hey, can you look over like these pages Mari sent in? Let me know if you have any feedback. And like that sort of thing. So I would get them in batches and basically just have a chance to look them over and make sure that there wasn't anything kind of like missing or anything that I envisioned differently, etc. So that I don't think ever happened. I think maybe there was like 1 or 2 notes there, but like every time I got art pages, it's just kind of like me again with tears in my eyes, just being like, it's magic. It's magic. It's come to life. Like, I'm just genuinely so excited. There's a page early on in the book. I'm opening my copy here. And Bob and Joey, I don't know if anyone else has read it yet. It's okay if you haven't, I guess. But
What page? Mine's in front of me.
okay, so there's page number 24, and it's basically when Silas and Abby, Gita, and Hannah first encounter the Chaos Bunnies. Mm-hmm. And everyone's like, oh, they're so cute. And then the bunny lunges for Silas. Mm-hmm. And at the top of page 24, there's this scene, and Silas's face is just amazing. It's so good. And there's just the lettering in the background of him, of him screaming. And that was like a page, that was the very first colored page that my editor sent me. And by page, I mean screenshot of exactly that. That was like, she was like, Stephanie, look! It's just like her sending a shot of that image to me to be like, colors are happening. You know, like it was just very fun to see. And I think that's her favorite moment too. Again, my agent and my editor love Silas. So yeah, like realistically though, I wasn't that involved in the art process, but Mari is so good, and my editor, I would trust my editor with any story. You know, we've worked together now on 4 books, and like she just knows what I'm going for at all times. Like I can tell her where it should go, what it should look like, and she just retains that and ensures that integrity throughout. So like I really felt comfortable letting Lily take the reins on that and guiding the book with the rest of our team.
Now, on that design front, those I've seen some of your cartooning. Those bunnies look suspiciously like yours. Did you design the bunnies, or is it Marie?
I didn't. I do love to draw them now. Like I sit definitely watching TV. I've been like obsessively hate watching the Nancy Drew show, but like and like just like drawing while I watch it. But that was like again all Mari. Like Mari did everything for the design, and it just I love it all. I'm practicing drawing them though, so that I can maybe draw little bunnies in people's books.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Marketing.
I'm hoping I don't mess them up. The first oh my gods that I signed to someone, I spelt wrong. I spelt things wrong. And then it was to a teacher at her school. And I was like, oh no. I spelt like fourth. It was like to so-and-so's 4th graders. And I spelt fourth, like go forth. And then it was just like, I couldn't fix it. There was no way to not painfully fix it. So I'm so anxious about signing stuff now. But yeah.
Just draw the little chaos bunny and put googly eyes on it.
And draw it over the bad words. It works.
Oh my God. Trust me. I've been thinking about this. I'm like, how can I fix things now? It's been thinking of permeating.
I have a book here that I picked up at one of the cons. It was a Star Trek convention. It's a fellow named Mark Altman who does a lot of special features DVDs, Star Trek guy, and actually directed or produced the movie Free Enterprise. And so he wrote a book about the first 50 years of Star Trek. And I had seen him the day before, and he actually signed my Free Enterprise DVD, and we had a lovely conversation about I own it on Laserdisc and that the movie has lasers in it and so on and so forth. So I won some trivia thing the next day and got a copy of the book. And he did ask my name again. I said Bob, and he signed it John, and then handed it to his co-author, who then also signed it to John. So, was like, thanks, Mark. I guess.
Oh no. I definitely tried again. I can't remember what the person's name was. It was something with a double L though. And the next book after this, I was like, ooh, I'm gonna jazz this up. It's gonna have doodles in it. It's gonna be real cute. But then I tried to spell this person's name, but I changed the L's to little lightning bolts.
Ooh.
But then the lightning bolts looked like Z, so it looked like I spelt their name with Z's instead. And I was just like, oh, I give up. I'm just writing things normally. We're not embellishing anything anymore.
I think bunnies are the way to go.
I will try. I will report back.
Yes. We were talking a lot about puns here. I love the sly references to classic movies here that you've got someone named Mr. Cheney, who's part of a werewolf family, and the Swayzes, please.
Oh, yeah. I was like, if anyone's going to notice this, Bob will.
Oh, stop.
Target audience. Audience.
Yeah.
Maybe so.
Yeah.
Maybe so.
Full circle.
I was like waiting for somebody, Bob, to like see the Cheney reference and to get it. The Swayze one, I saw somebody like on Goodreads be like, who did this? I see you. And it's like, I mean, it's obviously me, the writer, but like, that was like meant to be a placeholder thing, and then I just didn't change it. So, yeah, now her whole family is a ghost family named the Swayzes. So,
Are there any others like that I haven't found yet?
I liked canceling the apocalypse. That was a good one.
Yeah.
Thank you. I love Pacific Rim. Guillermo del Toro, please let me write the musical. I will do so much fun with that.
We just did the King Kong with the giant puppet. I'm sure you could do Pacific Rim on Broadway.
Please.
Gypsy Dancer, yes.
I beg for this on Twitter at least twice a year. Like, I'm like, Guillermo, please. I know you live in the beaches. I could stalk. He lives in Toronto. I could stalk you a bit, but I'm doing this with dignity. Just let me write this. Dignity online begging.
Yeah.
It's just all I need. There aren't though. Like, there's definitely some references, and a lot of things kind of wound up not being in the final book. Like I said, there was like the Monty Python stuff, and like the reference to Tim the Enchanter. But then there's like little things, like not necessarily references, but like the demons that bully Abby's little sister are speed demons.
Mm-hmm.
And like there's definitely small. There's a Cool Runnings reference in here too, and like it's the smallest thing ever. And there was like, I think a Publishers Weekly reviewer was like, there's like so many pop culture references, including obscure movies like Cool Runnings. I was like, excuse me, Cool Runnings is not obscure. But like, I mean, there's definitely like small little nods to stuff throughout the book. I wrote this so long ago now. I'm sure there's probably more that I'm not remembering like properly. Like Gita's parents, like her dad is named Lon.
Of course he is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And yeah, there's like small things, but they started as placeholder things that just made me happy, and then again they just stuck.
And good that they did. I will certainly, when my official color copy comes next week, I will be doing a reread. I will make sure to take notes and get back to you, Steph.
Yeah, I'm sure I have like them written down somewhere where I'm just like, this made me happy. But it's been so long, Bob. It's been so long.
Stop. Now, we are, by the way, thrilled to be part of your press tour. You mentioned an outdoor signing. How's it been going so far? Interviews and all this sort of stuff.
It's been good so far. I mean, like, it's really just fun to get to talk about this. Again, Paranorthern has been in the works for so long now. And, I had ARCs, like, advanced review copies of Paranorthern, like, this time last year. And then, like, oh my gods, I didn't see until it was, like, on shelves, basically. So, it's been a wild... Publishing's really bizarre. So, like, Paranorthern was done bought first. It was made first. And then Oh My Gods was bought like 6 months after, but it came out first. So it's just like weird. I've been waiting a really long time to get to talk about Paranorthern and to have that be in people's hands. So like now I'm just like really excited that it's like here, and it feels surreal to me. You know, like we didn't really get to do anything for Oh My Gods. Again, lockdown. Thanks, Global Panini. But like it's really nice to get to do this. Like I put a couple books in like little libraries around my neighborhood. And I went to this little library that's all painted up with like, it's like made for kids specifically. So I knew I wanted to leave one there. And I went to get a photo of it, and like it was the first day that I'd received my comps. And there was a Purelator guy dropping off a package. And I was like, hello, will you take a photo of me putting this book in a little library?
Oh.
And he was so nice about it, and like was like, what? You wrote this? Wow. Like he was just like, if you could imagine writing a book and then meeting the perfect stranger who would reciprocate like, like all of your excitement and be like, wow, good for you. You're famous. Like, wow. And it was like the best interaction possible. Like, he's like, yeah, I'll take a photo. And then he's like looking through, he's like, wow, my kid really likes comic books. Like, blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, how old's your kid? And he's like, oh, he's 10 and he loves this stuff. And I'm like, you take it then. He's like, what? I'm like, no way. It was like a hardcover. I'm like, just take it. He's like, what? And I'd signed it and everything. My signing said, I hope you enjoy this. And, he was just like, wow. Like he was just like so lovely and so nice. And like, I know I'm supposed to talk about, you're asking more about like the press things.
Oh, this is better. This is much better. Lovely story.
But it was just the nicest. And I was like, would you mind if I took a photo of you holding the book? 'Cause like, this is the first time I get to see someone with my book. And he was like, no problem. He's like, that way you can remember me when you're famous. And like, he was just so nice. And it was like the best possible way to celebrate like having my book arrive and like getting to give it to somebody who was like so genuinely appreciative of it. Like, I don't know if his kid liked it, but like he was like gung-ho about it. And like, I don't know, like it was just, everything else has been fine, but that was kind of just like the icing on the cake that made me really, really excited to have that go out in the world.
Sure.
So Quentin from Purelator, you made my whole week that weekend.
Sometimes that's all you need.
Yeah. So it's been going good, Bob.
There you go. Well, I have a review for you from my coworker Julia, who's a big reader of fantasy and science fiction. I showed her Paranorthern, and she said, super cute. I love the puns, the power of friendship and family love, and the fact that the day was saved by good communication and positive self-appreciation. It's really, really, really nice to see true and good friendship achieve great things. Abby's moral confidence is beautiful. I love the diversity. I love the characters, and Abby and Gita are precious cuties.
Oh, that makes my heart so happy. I read a review last week, and it was from a Christian mommy blogger.
Oh boy! Oh no!
Oh boy!
Okay, she wrote one for Oh My Gods too, and the best part of that one was we took the Lord's name in vain too many times with a book called Oh My Gods. But yeah, right? So good. But then with this, she started it out with, she writes a bit about like the plot, and then she stops and is like, I had to take a moment, and I have to take a moment here to remind children to not hold seances to raise the dead or contact the dead. And I was what? But then
Jesus.
It goes on for several more paragraphs, very short paragraphs. And at the end, their like verdict is like, I skipped 1/3 of the book because it has magic and magic is bad. So I don't really know how to like sum up this book, but it's fine, I guess. The illustrations are nice.
That's positive.
Hey, that's not bad.
Yeah, but I just like really appreciated the let's take a moment to think about raising or contacting the dead.
You should put that everywhere.
Yeah.
That should be a part of your
It
press
should be on the
package.
dust jacket.
I wanted her. I wish
Christian
she'd had
Science
better
Monitor
quote.
says,
Yeah. Christian Science Monitor says magic is the devil's fun. Like,
But it's
The
okay.
illustrations are great.
So my point with that was your friend's review is much nicer than the last review I've read for this book, which was that.
There you go.
Which was both very funny and bad, but yeah.
Julia also, she designs and makes costumes for the local theaters around here. She loves Abby's dress and will be making one to wear for herself.
Oh, yeah.
I will die a little bit.
When she gets it all done, I will send you out a picture.
Oh my god, please do. I will legit, again, cry. I don't feel like I'm that big of an emotional person normally, but writing a book and spending I sold Paranorthern in 2018, and it had been in my brain for years before that. And so in a lot of ways, I know it's not an actual child, but this has been something that I've been working on so long. It's been, characters kind of talk to you in a way, and it's just really wild to see something that felt so close to you, just out there now, and people connecting with it. So I will probably have 1,000 more meltdowns. And if people post photos, and I got a fan letter for Oh My Gods a little while ago and had a meltdown, it was just really wholesome and nice. She wrote 3 PSs, and the second PS was, please make this into a movie. Also, can I be in it? That's a flex.
Yes.
I'm going to write to this author and I'm going to ask her to cast me in the movie, which she 100% would have control over.
That's how it works.
So,
Hey,
yeah.
among some other things to chat about, what's the scoop on your Kickstarter Life with Megan Wang?
Oh, yeah, that's still happening. My God, this month. Jesus. Yeah, that's been amazing. So that was backup stories that we did for the series Tartarus at Image Comics with Johnny Christmas and Jack T. Cole. And Megan and I we connected so long ago. We wanted to work on a project, and I pitched her Life years ago, and she was like, yes. Because essentially I was basically asking her to make, mash up creatures for an alien world, and one of her favorite things is Pokemon. So I was basically asking her to make sci-fi Pokemon, and she was like, yes. So yeah, that's on Kickstarter. It's a collected version of all of the backups, since you could only get them in the single issues. So we did a collected edition with Toronto Comics, who do the Wayward Sisters, Wayward Kindred, the Toronto Comics Anthology, the Shout Out Anthology. They're wonderful. So they're distributing it and partnered with us to put it all together. And there are, by the time people listen to this, there'll be maybe 1 or 2 days left of the Kickstarter. So you can go to the TO Comics website or their Kickstarter and look up Life.
How far are you from your goal, or are you already there?
We made our goal in
Nice.
26 hours.
Whoa.
So everything else now is just icing on the cake. I really didn't know, because it's a series of silent, short silent comics. So I wasn't really sure if that would be too niche for some people. I was sure, we'll have people supporting, but will people want this? And it seems yes, they do.
There you go.
So it's been going really well, and Megan's art is just so outstanding. And, I'd be I felt so bad. There's a bestiary now of all the characters and things, but realistically, the descriptions Megan got from me was like, frog sloth. I want to do a frog sloth. Let's make a caterpillar bird. Let's do. It's like a dinosaur, but it's a whale, but it's a dolphin in the ocean. And like Megan delivered on every single one of these things and was just like, okay, cool, perfect. So unquestioningly, Megan is a saint. But yeah, like it was just amazing. And now you can read beautiful descriptions that I definitely didn't write up after the fact.
Secret.
Yeah.
It's a collaborative process,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Caterpillar bird, then you get the drawing, and then you write the story.
Yeah. Well, like, Megan, like, again, that was, like, really collaborative. Unlike, again, like, I didn't really work with Mari and, like, all that stuff. But, like, again, comics, it's constantly depending on who your editor is, who your publisher is, what the project is. And, like, I knew Megan. I knew what Megan's, like, limitations were. And I knew Megan would tell me if she needed more to go off of, too, Like, Megan is not a BSer. Like, if I was like, draw this, and she'd just be like, Steph, are you serious? No, Steph, come on, get it together. So, like, I knew, like, she would run with this, and for anything that she needed help with, like, she knew she could come to me and talk to me. Like, we were friends. So, she's just a superstar, though.
Oh, absolutely. And Stan and Jack used to work that way. Kirby gave the pages to Fantastic Four 48 to him. Well, who's this silver guy, Jack? And he had to make up a story on the spot. See, you're doing the same thing. It's classic. It's a classic look. Speaking of classics, what can you tell us about your new podcast, The Capercast?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. There are so many things. Good God. I'm so forgetful. A new episode drops yesterday. I'm trying to think of when this comes out on Tuesday, right?
Wednesday.
So yesterday, I was right the first time. But yeah, Whitney Gardner, who is the wonderful creator of the books Fake Blood and Long Distance.
Both spoken about on this show already.
They're so good.
Yes.
But we created a show called The Capercast, which explores cinematic heists and capers. And we basically talk about films and then kind of rate the heists a little bit and go through all that sort of stuff. So we've been having an absolute blast doing this. We are becoming caper connoisseurs. Although we've also had to like the first movie we watched was like not a heist movie. Like Snatch is not a heist movie.
No.
But it was on all of these, and I'd seen Snatch before, but we both hadn't seen it in so long, And so it was on all these lists. So we're like, yeah, let's watch this. And then we were like, this is just failed heists. This is just so
failed heists and thick accents. That's all that movie is.
Yeah. And then we watched How to Steal a Million, which Bob and I have long had conversations about already. And then our third movie is Chicken Run.
Lovely.
That's the one that's out now, the latest episode. But it's also technically not a heist. It's a caper. So we've been having like a lot of fun kind of, defining the heist and what kind of falls under the caper umbrella. And it's like a lot of conversations we didn't really think we would have about this. And I don't know, it's just been a joy to kind of do. And I really love just talking to Whitney and getting to do something with her. So yeah, it's at capercast.com. And the third episode just went live this week.
It's a joy to listen to. You guys bouncing off each other as you decide, was this really a caper or not? Is it a heist? Is what's happening? That is just so much fun, and so friends sitting around chatting about movies where we all do. And then you do get to the particulars and the scripting and the acting and the costumes, particularly with How to Steal a Million.
Yes.
It's
so
lovely.
Good. Yeah, we've been having like a lot of fun too, like with the trivia and just kind of like discussing the films. Like Whitney's birthday's coming up in August, and she was like, "Steph, can I claim a movie for like my birthday?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course you can. Like that is well." She's like, "Great Muppet caper." Like yes, yes. So spoilers, that's one that's coming up. But it's just really fun. Like, cause like, obviously if you do like a movie podcast, that's so daunting. There's so many things out there in the world. And we like really love heist stuff. And this was just, we couldn't believe Capercast was like not already a thing. We're like, how has this not already been claimed? We even got the .com. So like, it's just been such a joy. And you kind of genuinely forget, like, through all of this, like, I live alone, and I forget sometimes, like, how nice it is to, like, talk to people and just have that ordinary kind of connection, you know? Like,
Sure.
It's been nice, as you can tell by me not shutting up.
It's a lot of fun. I've listened to all three and am waiting. Well, actually, the first. Well, it's an introduction episode and then 2 real episodes, and now your actual number 3 is Chicken Run.
Yes, we have we've been making fake commercials and stuff.
Oh,
too,
they're the best.
And that was like Whitney's idea. She was like, "We need to have fake commercials." I was like, "Okay," and now we've just been having so much fun doing this, and we've figured out we have like enough episodes to last us a few years. So yeah, eventually we're gonna have guests. Bob, you obviously have to come on and talk about Charade.
Oh, yes. No question.
Bob claimed that. Yeah.
Yes.
But I'm so excited to introduce Whitney to Fast Five. Like she's
Oh,
never
my
seen.
God.
Oh, yes.
She's
I
never
spent
seen
the
any
last,
Fast and the Furious movies.
Oh gosh, I spent the last 3 weeks watching them all again. It's the greatest film franchise of our time.
Good. It's so good. I like unironically love this. I've probably said this 500 times, but if like my high school boyfriend introduced me to the first one, and had you told me sitting on that dingy couch of his parents' basement while watching this movie that several years from now one of the movies would make me cry, I think I would have slapped someone.
Was it Fast 7?
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah,
What other one would make you cry, Joey?
Hey, I don't know, man. They're dragging the safe through the
Han.
streets of Rio. Maybe that'll do it.
Tokyo
Han
Drift
had
on.
me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although, well, I haven't seen the new one yet, so don't say anything. But
Oh, the new one is
theaters-
great.
Theaters are
Fantastic.
closed here. And they didn't release it on demand, so
Yeah.
I can't see it. Like, I have no way of seeing it.
I mean, it's
So-
going to be the biggest movie of the year, so there's no way they're going to put it not on in the theaters.
Well, like, theaters aren't opening until at least the end of this month. So, like, it's going to have been out for, like, at least a month before I'll even maybe get to see it.
It's going to be cathartic when you see it, though.
Okay, there's like a slightly sad but also a little bit funny story, because like, you know, the song at the end of Fast 7 that they play for Paul Walker's memorial, but like a friend of mine, her sister passed away a few years ago, and like we went to the funeral, and they were like, let's take a moment, we're gonna like, you know, we're gonna play Katie's favorite song while we take a lower our heads. And anyways, they started playing that song, but they didn't like choose the edited version of it.
Oh, boy.
So it was like all old people, and I had to keep pinching myself because they started rapping, and there's like, you know, they're doing the yeah, and like, and then it's like still rapping, and I'm like, do not laugh at this funeral, do not laugh at this funeral. Like, I had to keep pinching myself, and all of my friends and I were like looking at each other, being like, we can't laugh at this funeral.
Oh, God.
It was so painfully hard. Oh my God.
That's a classic Stephanie Cook vignette, actually.
Oh, why didn't they choose the edited one?
Well, you don't know. You don't know.
I just have so many questions, but like it's permanently, I don't remember anything else from that funeral except like pinching myself, like causing myself so much pain to not laugh at my friend's sister's funeral.
I think actually any of those fast movies would be good for your podcast.
Oh my God. They're so good. Like I'm so excited to introduce them to her with no context whatsoever, though. Just going to be like, all right, Fast Five, here we go. And
well,
like,
you're not going to watch them in order and like watch her like lose her mind as they get progressively more insane.
What? I don't know. Like, I don't know what her threshold is. Like, if she knows when we're going to record this episode, so I'm like, is she going to go watch all of these in advance, or is she just going to come to this episode and be like, all right, Fast Five, like, here we go.
Who are these people?
Yeah.
I know.
Who is this family?
I'm really, really interested to see how that goes. Like, interested / extremely excited. So
45 minutes in, is that ludicrous?
oh my God.
Is that Tyrese? Who's this?
My ability to bring these movies up to with like no reason to whatsoever is just unparalleled.
Well, that's why you have a podcast, you know? Like,
Yeah.
there has to be an outlet for that.
Oh, it's so good. It's just like the only franchise that somehow gets better with time. It's just it's like they were like, what if we were now Mission Impossible, but with cars? And the cars went to space, and the cars went under the sea, and the cars jumped across skyscrapers. Nothing could stop us. Like,
I read a great article that was like, the reason why the movie franchise is like that is because Vin Diesel is like a Dungeons and Dragons guy. Wow. And the whole article was like, Dungeons and Dragons, like when you start and it's just like, we're in this village, we're at a bar, we're just this. But then as the game goes on, all of a sudden it's like, now we're climbing a mountain and killing dragons. And it's like, what? We were just hanging out with some gremlins before, and now we're killing dragons on a mountaintop.
We were stealing DVDs, and now we're jumping from building to building in a car. Yeah.
I read this quote the other day, though, and like, I can't tell if I would love or hate meeting Vin Diesel in real life. Like, I read this quote, and it was just like, I don't know where Vin Diesel begins and like the Fast and Furious ends. Like, he's just like saying like this is his life, and I'm like, are you delusional? Like, I'm so confused by this quote. Like, I keep seeing so many Fast and the Furious memes. I'm like, I feel like on Instagram, all I post is like Lord of the Rings and like the Mummy memes for like movie stuff. But I'm like, do I add Fast and the Furious into this mix too and really throw people off? Like, do I just start sharing all of these memes that I love about Fast and the Furious? I think the answer is yes.
Yes.
So good. Those movies are so painfully dumb and so good.
Stephanie, if you can find it, there's a TikTok going around of a guy who is like...
Is it the musical?
It's the musical one. And he's like, here's what I think the Fast and the Furious musical would sound like from someone who has never seen a single Fast and the Furious movie. It's incredible.
It made me once again send a message to somebody being like, if this can exist, so can Pacific Rim the musical. Like, I will not let it die. I will not let it die. But like... for real, I watched that and then I sent it to my editor and I sent it and then I like saw it's like seen 2 hours ago, no response. I'm like, yeah! Somebody acknowledge me. But yeah, that made me laugh so hard. I loved it. So good.
Well,
TikTok is bad place, but it's also somehow the good place.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I think got a lot of people through the pandemic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to like learn the TikToks now, and I've never felt so my age until this moment.
Since we were talking the Fast Five, let's try another edition of that quiz classic, the Fast Five. We're going to throw some quick questions at you and see what you got. Okay. Ready?
All right. Yeah.
Favorite coffee, Tim Hortons, Starbucks, Dunkin', or something else?
Oh, probably Starbucks. Tim Hortons is actually bad. Sorry.
Really?
Oh.
Wow.
Okay, I like it for like other things,
Just
like
not the
iced
coffee.
cappuccinos, maybe. but like their coffee, no thank you.
Okay. Your favorite witch from TV or movies is?
Oh, Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Easy.
Generational, of course.
Yes. Do you have an opinion from the old days of the Nick at Night days? Samantha Stevens or Jeannie? Just as a sidebar.
Oh, wait. I missed the beginning of that one.
Oh, from the old days when they would have been on Nick at Night. Samantha from Bewitched or Jeannie from I Dream of Jeannie?
Oh, you know what? I didn't really watch a ton of either of them. I just I watched a little bit of, Bewitched for sure. But like, I didn't really have access to a lot of them. But yeah, Bewitched is probably what I'm more familiar with.
Gotcha. You'll love her. Okay, here's one. Ginger Snaps, coolest werewolf movie ever?
Yes.
Yes.
Obviously.
That's a leading question.
In the witness, Your Honor. The judge will allow it because it was an excellent question and it's perfect. And I legit, I was about to be I could be on an entirely different podcast about this. And I was.
Really?
I did a whole podcast about Ginger Snaps. The person was his name's Anthony, was oh, would you like to come do horror movies? I'm yes, Ginger Snaps.
Nice.
Oh, okay. So I definitely
I want that link. I want that link. I need to hear that. Yeah, I love those movies. Emily Perkins, Catherine Isabel, just great stuff.
I own the trilogy.
American Mary is in that, right?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, American Mary?
Yes.
Is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How about this? Whose house would you haunt if you were a ghost?
Whoa.
Well, fun fact. I've probably told this story 5,000 times, and I apologize if I've told that 5,000 times on this show. But when I was 10, I had this friend that I wanted to friend break up with. I just was no, I'm not into this anymore. We don't want this. And as a kid, I didn't know how to do that. It's how do you tell someone you don't like them anymore? So I pretended to be possessed by a ghost.
What?
I still remember basically everything I told this girl too. Sophia, I'm sort of sorry. I'm not sorry. I'm a little bit sorry. I'm not that sorry. But I told her I was this ghost named Edmund. I was Mommy, it's cold in here. Why did you lock me in the pantry? I made it so that the mother killed him too. It was so dark. She was Steph, this isn't funny. I'm oh, Stephanie. I was really committed to this bit. And I don't know how long it went on for, but she's just oh, I think my mom's here. Gotta go and never come back. And I was okay, save me from my mummy. Ew.
Poor girl questioning everything about life.
Yeah.
So that's the original ghosting right there.
Oh.
Yeah. I want to say I'm not proud of that, but I mean, I'm a little bit proud of that.
You should be. You should be. It's great.
I don't know where that came from. So, who would I haunt, though?
Besides Sophia.
That's hard.
Besides Sophia.
Yeah. Poor Sophia. I mean, as an adult, I realize it's probably not the healthiest way to break up with someone. But then, whatever. She's probably got a story out of it.
Yes. There isn't a good way, so at least you have one with a story.
I'm very curious
Probably
about her
tells it
side
to her
of this.
therapist weekly.
Yeah.
Exactly. She's when I was 10, I had this friend who was possessed by a ghost named Edmund.
My God. You know what? It'd be so great if she was a ghost hunter. That's her job now.
She's on one of those shows.
Yes. You gave her a whole career.
Oh my God. I want this so badly now.
You have to be able to find her on Facebook.
She
or
has
something.
an incredibly unique last name too. I've definitely tried, but I've never referred to my yearbook, so I constantly just have to try and remember what her last name, how it was spelled, and it never ends well. But I should just look at my freaking yearbook. That would be the easy way. But yeah, who would I've not still answered this question. I don't know. Is there anyone I like enough that I would want to haunt? That's permanently stuck with somebody
Yes.
forever until they die. Bob, this is a hard question. This isn't like a flash decision.
Okay.
God, I don't know.
You gave us a great story.
know.
Don't worry. You'll come back next time, and we'll have an answer.
And
I'll think
hopefully
on
with
it.
a story about Sophia.
Yes.
You can find her and let us know.
Okay. I think
Maybe she's a comic book artist. You never know.
right. You may do
I
a
somehow
project
doubt
together.
it, but, like,
I somehow doubt it.
that, like, I'm curious about you, Sophia. Tell me how you're doing.
Yes.
If you're listening to this exact podcast,
Right.
reach out.
Last one. This
Pretend.
will be easier. In the event of a nuclear holocaust, who would last the longest, cockroaches or raccoons?
Well, I know the answer that's for real, but I don't want that to be the answer. Raccoons are resilient, though.
I know.
You know, like, cockroaches, I feel like would last, but raccoons would find a way. They would be like, have you seen Kipo and the Age of Wonder Beasts?
No.
Yes, my children
God.
love that.
It's so good. I just finished watching the whole show a couple weeks ago, but like the animals mutate, they turn into giant
Ooh.
animals, and like I want that to be what happens to raccoons. Like I want them not to be like wiped out. They're just like, oh no, this nuclear holocaust has like permanently altered our DNA. Now we're giant. Like that's what I want.
They could eat all the cockroaches. It's simple.
Yeah, exactly. I love them. I am in so many raccoon groups on Facebook now. It's like the only reason I go on Facebook. I'm just like, let me just see the wholesome Facebook groups.
Good for you. Good for
Very
you.
niche. Very niche.
Yeah, TikTok almost exclusively is like this Fast and the Furious video and also people rescuing raccoons. Like that's my recommendations.
For you page. That's what it is.
Oh my God, so ridiculous.
Now, I think we are going to let you go now, Steph. But before we do that, does anyone have anything else they want to throw Stephanie's way?
We're just so proud of you. We were
Yeah.
talking about it on 500 after your call in, and we were like, it's crazy how like awesome you are now in that comics kind of realm with the editing and the writing and still doing the podcasting thing. It's like, we're just very proud of you here on the show.
Amen.
And happy to call you a Talking Comics OG.
I
Yay.
love you guys. It's like it feels very surreal to me too. Like I don't know. Like it's been a real journey over the last several years, and I don't think I would have pictured me being here several years ago. And I don't know. Like I don't think without the community I would have kept at it, if that makes sense. So I don't know, y'all are like the best.
Oh, we're all going to go there.
Hug.
Yes, all across the continents. Steph, where can people find you and Paranorthern on those interwebs?
Yeah. So I'm at stephaniecook.ca. Cook has an E on the end of it. And this is a fun fact for anybody who wants to make books. Just buy a domain name. It makes it very easy to point everybody to things. But Paranorthern, you can find out more at paranorthern.net. And if you email or DM or whatever your pre-order, or again, if you buy it in like the first couple of weeks and you send me a picture, I will send you a Chaos Bunny enamel pin.
Yeah.
They are limited. I have several. Couple hundred, but like,
But still limited. It's limited.
it's limited in the sense that I will not be making more once these are gone. So, yeah, I will send out a pin to you and all of you if you would like one. Bob, you can have 3 for the 3 pre-ordered.
Thank you.
But yeah, if anyone would like one, hit me up and send me a message.
Well, Steph, as Joey said, we are so proud of what you're doing now, and we're proud of you. Well, you were part of this all those years ago and all the way through. Just lovely to be your friend. So thank you, Steph, and best of luck.
friends.
Congrats, Steph.
Thank you. Oh, you're all so wonderful.
Someone edit in a Golden Girls theme here at some point. In post.
What I'll do is I'll fade out on Steph crying right there like that.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the show. First of all, before we jump into any of our comics talk, just wanted to extend another warm thank you to Miss Stephanie Cook, and we wish her all the best with Paranorthern. We were talking off air that she's just awesome and a great person to talk to. It's, no wonder that Talking Comics exists, because her insight and her just zany stories, I think, were a reason why the show got popular to begin with, to be honest. But thank you, Bob, for coordinating that and getting that off the ground. It
was so great. As we said to Stephanie on and off the air, and we'll say it again, we are immensely proud that she's a Talking Comics alumni.
Mm-hmm. Pre-order Paranorthern or pick it up in shops. Check out her Capercast. Oh My Gods is already out. What else she got going on? That Kickstarter
of life.
I think there's a couple of days still there, so we love to support her, and we'll definitely have her back on in the near future.
Amen.
This is Talking Comics, so let's talk about some comics and some lightning rounds. Did I tell y'all I watched Shazam again, like a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, you mentioned it.
It is
Does it get better or worse?
I definitely liked it when I saw it. It's definitely like a weird middle point from the DC films before it and then the stuff that came after it. I'll be very interested to see Shazam 2 Legend of the Fall or whatever it's called. Shazam 2 Dances with Wolves, something. I don't know.
No,
Doesn't Black Adam come out first?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Shazam 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah. Because the first one tries so hard to be like Superman, Batman, here's the Superman at the post credits, right? So I wonder how much of that will still be there in the second film.
Yeah. There's so many things to like, and then others that you had left me scratching my head.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's
the family stuff was wonderful. It could have been a great light entertainment, and then it gets really weird here and there. And I know I have to release my craziness about continuity and who Captain Marvel really is and blah, blah, blah. And it's the movie.
Yeah.
Them sitting around the table, that was some of the most heartwarming stuff that's been in any DC movie ever.
I remember from the movie, seeing it in the theaters, and then I had the same feeling when I watched it last week or 2 weeks ago. I had no idea that the Shazam family, the Marvel family,
I didn't either. It was awesome.
Was going to be in it. So when that happened at the end of the movie, I freaked out. I was like, "This is awesome!" And they all grew up and stuff. And I was like, "This is so cool," because they really get you to care about the foster kids, the foster family stuff. And I felt the same way when I saw it on HBO Max. To Aaron's point though, some of the other things, some of the Mark Strong stuff and some of the the Sins stuff, I was just like, this is. I remember now why I kind of zoned out. But then that family stuff, I really hope they lean into that for the sequel. Yeah. But anyway, lightning rounds. Shazadam. Aaron, why don't you start us off here?
Oh, is that how you feel? Oh, okay.
Yeah, that is how I feel.
Okay. I see. John, he booted you. Anyway, so let me just... Oh, okay. So here we go. Shazadam and all that stuff. So my first book, Department of Truth number 10, and we've been talking about this book for a while, and it's weird, creepy X-Files sort of I don't even know how to describe it, but it's James Tynion, Martin Simmons. I am developing a very weird relationship with this book because I have to get it. I have to pick it up. I have to read it. But then there's some times that I'm just like, ugh. So here's why. Let me explain. We're still finding out about, through the eyes of Cole Turner, Agent Cole Turner, what exactly the Department of Truth's role is, what its mission is. And as I've said in previous episodes, the main conceit of the book is that perception becomes reality, as that saying goes, or belief becomes reality. If something is believed enough, it becomes a reality. And the Department of Truth is there to basically, well, at least we believe anyway, basically to balance things out, what things should or should not be believed. And what Cole is finding out, and even more so in this issue, is what that means, what it takes to do that. I think in the previous issues, we have sat back and heard the stories and heard it discussed, at the highest level, but he is now being brought into the field and they're going to hunt them some Bigfoots. And so I'm going to get them some Bigfoots. And the reason why I say there's sometimes that I've grown, because what I think they do unbelievably well is ratchet up that tension and that intrigue and that fear to the point where even though you're reading the words, you still find yourself creeped out, at the possibilities of what they are suggesting and can almost see how that could play out and almost see it as you're watching on screen. Where I've grown a little bit is sometimes the characters that are supposed to be extreme are so extreme. There's such characters there's such archetypes of these types of characters. The irreverent sort of shit-talking country, authority, authority bucking, agent who just does what he wants. They're such an extreme. And sometimes I almost want them to dial that back because against the backdrop of this intrigue and this tension, it takes me out a little bit. With that said, I still think this is just telling one of the most original stories right now and beautifully, illustrating it. So I definitely say pick it up. Again, there's really not, each issue in and of itself does not really give you a lot of action or a lot of events or a lot of plot pushing point. It's really a little bit, each issue is literally like you're unrolling a scroll that's telling you the history of the Department of Truth, and you get just a little bit more. So there's a lot of character stuff. There's a lot of backstory stuff. There's a lot of, this is why, how, and where we sit in the world. But it's not unlike so many other books that we read, it's not a us versus them type scenario. It's this is what's really happening. And this is, here's another little piece that I'm sure when I inevitably go back and sort of read, a couple of arcs in a row again, I will see different things that I absolutely missed. Because this is a book you absolutely have to pay attention to when you're reading it. But I'm still really enjoying this book. So there you have it. My next book, and I'm bringing this up because we all did a little bit of an eye roll the last time we mentioned the word clones. Exactly. So Miles Morales' Spider-Man Clone Saga, it's kind of issue 24 through 27, more so 25 through 27. Saladin Ahmed and Carmen Carnero writing this story. So I've been really enjoying, I probably haven't spoken about it as much as I probably think I should have, but I've really been enjoying Miles Morales' Spider-Man. It took me a while to sort of settle back in after Bendis left because for whatever reason, I really did like the relationships that Bendis had set up, but I actually am really enjoying the relationships here, and I'm enjoying them in a different way because Miles is older, and his relationships to his parents and to his friends are a little bit different, and he's gone through a few more things, and he's got a little bit more experience under his belt, and it shows through in the way he's being written as more confident, more secure in his capabilities and his abilities, almost to the point where, as you see in some of these issues, that there are aspects of what Miles could do that Peter Parker is quite jealous of. Quite jealous of, and quite made to feel almost inferior for. But there is still that mentor-mentee relationship that goes on between them. So what has happened? In the previous arc, there was this super evil guy named the Assessor that essentially kidnapped Miles and put him through the ringer. You could pretty much tell at the time that this was going to come back to rear its ugly head somewhere down the line. And here it is. So the assessor is the one who basically did all the things that needed to be done to make some Miles clones. And we find out that these clones have half-lives, shelf lives, if you want to call it that, has kind of irked them. But the clones are irked them to the point where they are searching for ways of stopping it. So that they can live. They are basically, you get a little bit of backstory of them being trained, along as they are growing, and basically to make them pure evil, to make them, pure weapons. And what they're trying to do is sort of put all the parts and pieces in place so that they can sort of outlive, the shelf life that have been given to them as clones. And part of that means that they have to, steal some things, and they have to steal them as Spider-Man, which is kind of giving Miles Morales Spider-Man a bit of a bad name around town, and hilarity ensues from there. What I've enjoyed about this story is probably less so the fighty clone portions of it, but the reflections of what that means for Miles, in each of his relationships and his relationship. There's been different parts and pieces of each of these books. There's an underlying storyline going on between Genki and Miles that I think is going to probably come to a head a little bit later, but that relationship, I think, shines. The relationship between Miles and his parents and the confidence that they have in him being a hero, I think, shines. The relationship between he and Peter, recognizing that even though Peter is the longer Spider-Man, the Spider has been Spider-Man the longest, Miles has his community, and Miles is that Spider-Man. So Peter, you stay down at this part of Manhattan. I got this part of Manhattan covered. This is their Spider-Man. That stuff, I think, is what speaks to me. Not so much the cloney stuff. I think the clones, in the story that they're telling about their, them trying to survive and them having a little bit of Miles in there and a little bit, and him trying to reach them and what that means, each clone representing a little bit of a different portion of Miles. I think this has served to bring out the character of Miles a little bit more. And I think that is what I am, again, leaning into and enjoying the most about the book. So I don't necessarily have to have the clones, but the way the clones are being used, I think, is what's making the story a little bit different. It's not just, hey, these clones are here to destroy your life, but rather these clones are here, and this is how this impacts this delicate balance that Miles, is maintaining. And it has been for the entirety of this run, a very delicate balance. There is always something for Miles in this run, these 27 issues. There's always something just about to break. There's always been something that's been just fragile enough, whether it's his uncle or his relationship with his parents or his relationship with his friend or a romantic interest or even his relationship with the city. There's always been something that's just, even his relationship with Kamala had a couple issues. There's always been something that's just been a delicate balance. I'm always waiting in some issue for him to sort of crack, but he just doesn't. The character just continues to be resilient and pushes through. And I think that's what I'm sort of connecting to. So I am enjoying the Clone Saga for everything but the clones. And
I'm right with you, Aaron. I read this every month and love it, and I just never bring it up because it slips my mind. But this has been a really good Miles Morales story. I love older Miles. I love that his parents know that he's Spider-Man and they don't try to stop him. Yep. But they have that fear that every parent has, but they know that he needs to go out there and do the right thing. And I've liked the clones in their actions are besmirching his reputation that he's built in this neighborhood that he kind of protects.
Yep.
And I think that's been really well done. I know when we were talking about this, we were, the Spider-Man going to 3 times a week or 3 times a month. I hope that this book doesn't get folded into that, but I do love reading the Peter Miles relationship. And it's almost reminds me of Dick Grayson and Tim Drake. Like it's brotherly, and one's been doing it more, but that doesn't always mean that he's the better one.
Yep.
And so it's been a really solid book since Bendis left. And I love the Bendis stuff, but I think this is a better Miles right now.
Yeah, it definitely took me a little time to sort of to adjust to this voice, but I think what helped with that was them aging him up, because it justified. It was a clever way of justifying the change in voice. And just so you know, I'm not being shot at, but rather there are fireworks going off in the background outside my house, in case anyone's concerned.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think it was a perfect point at which to age him up, because it gave you a reason for his voice being a little bit different. So yeah, I enjoy it. Now,
that Genki stuff that's going to come up. That's
it's gonna. Bro
you don't
code,
do
man.
that. Yeah, bro code. You don't do that.
Bro code. You just can't break bro code.
No, there's rules.
Good God.
Now, I saw a news article just the other day. Ben Reilly's making a comeback.
Oh,
yeah,
word.
They're bringing all of it into the Spider-Man book.
Ben Reilly, I think, is an Iron Man right now.
Yeah, he's in space. He's in space with Iron Man, taking on Korvac with Frogman.
Yeah, Frogman.
Wow.
Misty Knight.
Hellcat, War Machine.
And Tony.
Yeah.
Tony, who has to stay in his suit because his neck is broken. So his suit is the only thing keeping it in place. That is where Ben Reilly's Scarlet Spider is right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
In case you were wondering.
Yeah, I am actually. On the Department of Truth front, it's not really, but it's related. I have noticed recently, among a couple of friends, my voice is cracking. I don't know what's going on here. It's too hot, too humid. Friends who were never into conspiracy theories and cryptozoology are all of a sudden throwing things at me that I was really interested in when I was, 12. What? I just saw this documentary about Yetis and Sasquatches, or a friend of mine is all into this UFO report who used to denigrate everything I ever said about that. And wow.
It's because we're all been home.
Okay.
Watching
I got that.
videos on YouTube and documentaries.
It's the whole QAnon thing.
Yeah.
That's like the
shit.
That's like the negative side.
Right.
Of it all.
If we're doing Yetis and the Legend of Boggy Creek and UFOs, I'm much happier.
I'll admit it. I used to watch Finding Bigfoot weekly and then was disappointed that they never
found it.
Well, speaking of that, is this a segue? Am I segueing?
Sure.
Great.
Sure.
To my lightning round, let me start with this then.
Shazadam.
I'll start with this because those cryptids and such are part of this. The Mystery of the Meanest Teacher, a Johnny Constantine graphic novel by favorites of the podcast, Ryan North and Derek Charm, which should be enough to get us to read this book. But this is yet another one of the DC kind of like all ages graphic novels with these characters. So here is the pitch, okay? After angering a number of hostile spirits in England, 13-year-old magician Johnny Constantine has to find a way out of the country. Persuading his parents to send him to America, John arrives at the Junior Success boarding school in Salem, Massachusetts. But once there, he finds himself to be something of an outcast, and he is also convinced that his homeroom teacher really has it in for him. Worse, he's convinced that she's really a witch. And that's the plot of the book, right? I will say that it is Johnny Constantine in this book because he meets a witch hunting demon named Etrigan who speaks in rhyme and rhymes Johnny Constantine with kind. So I was like, all right, I guess it's Johnny Constantine. There you go. Canon, right? He also meets a fellow kind of outcast at the school named Anna. And I'm reading the book and I was like, I think I know who this is. And then like, obviously it's who you think it is. And I was like, I'm so smart. I was like, I am so smart. The 10-year-old reading this probably didn't get that, but I did. No, it's a ton of fun. First of all, Ryan North and Derek Charm, again, that should be enough to get you in, just the sense of humor, the playfulness of the artwork and the writing. In true Ryan North fashion, it is an incredibly dense
Of course.
There's a ton of words, ton of jokes, tons of puns, tons of quips. it doesn't have like the little font on the bottoms, but it is just so fun. And I really, really, really enjoyed it. The relationship between Kid Constantine and Anna, it's Zatanna for anyone who didn't catch on. The relationship between the two of them is absolutely stunning. And it was so fun reading this iteration after having done that whole Justice League Dark reread that Aaron made us do. And there's a scene in that. There's a scene in that I'm pretty sure when Constantine and Zatanna were like taking cover behind a car from like some explosion or some nonsense. And there's a scene in this book where Constantine and Anna, Johnny and Anna, are like huddled behind a rock taking cover from some explosions or stuff. And I had these like deja vu flashbacks, and I was like, I love these characters. I love their relationship. I love them anytime they're together. So it's a really awesome book. For those that have been fans of those all ages graphic novels from DC over the last couple of years that we've been talking about, definitely read this. For those that are fans of Squirrel Girl, Ryan North Dark Charm, read this. For those that are Constantine fans, read it. I just really, really, really enjoyed it. And some discussion of those cryptids, perhaps one that we were just talking about before, with big appendages. All right, so Shang-Chi #2, also read. Gene-Luen Yang, D.K. Ruan, Triona Farrell, Travis Lanham. The Shang-Chi versus the Marvel Universe continues as our title character continues to navigate his new role as the head of this international network of like martial arts warriors, the Five Weapons Society. But whereas his evil father used the Five Weapons Society for evil things, Shang-Chi is still trying to not do evil things with it. So that's a really tough thing to do, though, in issue 2, because he, as the new leader of the Five Weapons Society, is invited to an evil auction for evil organizations to do evil bids on like evil things. And like his brother, Deadly Saber, is also used to like doing things a certain way. And by that certain way, it's like kill someone first, ask questions later. And Shang-Chi's got like a lot going on with all of this, right? He's trying to step into this role as a leader. It just kind of sucks that he has to be the leader of this like cadre of assassins. And Captain America is also in this issue because the evil auction is for an evil cosmic cube. So, Shang-Chi's got a lot going on here. It's awesome. I really enjoyed the first 2 issues. First of all, Ruan's artwork is stunning. It is so awesome. And talk about a breakout for this year from the miniseries and this ongoing. It's just on another level. And Gene-Luen Yang is complicating the narratives around Shang-Chi in an awesome way, and a way that like I hope people read, especially now that once the movie comes out in September and people will be like interested in the character. I'm glad that this series now exists for them to go to.